Oh, got to turn mine on. Welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. And here during the month of October, we're bringing in from the Republican Party some of the candidates that are running for school board. The Republican Party, you've got your elephant on today, Seliah. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Didn't have to wear orange today.
That's right.
Okay.
So you were in the red, and I have... Don't say Goddard blue. Don't tell anybody I'm wearing a Goddard blue shirt today.
Okay, I won't.
But I'm on the Goddard broadcast crew tonight.
Right.
So about 12:30 or so, I'm headed over to Las Cruces. They're playing Mayfield.
Yeah, and you say Roswell's playing Dumas. When I was in high school, we played Dumas, and boy,
Is that right?
We never won. They were rough and tough. I'm going to listen to that game tonight.
Yeah. Well, it is, and it's an hour earlier.
Oh, that's true.
Because it's Texas time, so they'll start at 6 o'clock. And I called their AD to let them know that Art and Kelly were coming up to do the game, and I'm looking at the school on Google Maps, and I don't see a football field. And I said to the gentleman, I said, I don't see your football field. He says, oh, we have another field on the other part of town, and that's we play our games. I said, great. I said, what's the address? He says, I don't know. We all just know where it is.
Exactly. Just look for the lights.
Look for the lights. So that'll be on 106.5.
Right.
And that'll be a radio-only game tonight.
Okay.
And then I'll be with Scott Galletti in Las Cruces for the Goddard game against Mayfield, and that'll be on 106.1. And they have a student video program.
So it'll be streamed.
It'll be streamed with video. We're going to tap into their feed and put it on our channel tonight. So
that'll give us football on Friday night.
That's right.
So we don't have it here.
That's right. How's the? You've got the office.
The office
Artesia
is still open 2 days a week.
Okay.
On Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 to 5.
Okay.
11 to 5.
All right.
Slow going, really slow, but it's okay. Whoever comes in, comes in.
There you go.
We want people to come see.
So who did you bring with you today?
I brought Ben Harvey.
Hi, Ben.
Hi.
How are you doing? Good.
He's District 4.
District 4. Okay.
And I've got my Bulldog orange on.
Well, and I normally do, and I would today, but I'm on the Goddard crew, and Lana says to me this morning, she said, are you sure you want to wear that shirt this morning? I said, well, they're not playing today.
Right.
I should be okay.
Yeah.
We'll let it pass.
We'll let it pass. Goddard played Roswell in volleyball last night.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
5 sets.
Oh, wow.
Who won, Goddard?
Goddard did, but it was Roswell won the first, and it was at Goddard. And Goddard won the first, or Roswell won the first set, then Goddard won. Then Roswell won, then Goddard won, and then I think it was 15-12 was the final.
And it was Goddard?
Goddard, yeah.
His daughter's on the volleyball team. She's a junior.
She's been on the radio with you a couple times.
Okay.
Here.
Well, good. And they're off. Well, they were in Hobbs last night.
They were in Hobbs last night, went 5, lost in 5, but...
Well, the last time we played Hobbs, it went 5.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. We've beat them once, but lost to them twice. So.
Well...
We'll get them next time.
Oh, well.
That's right. Well, Ben, tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you a native Artesian, or are you like me, one of these, invaders?
Well, I'm an that's a Roswell thing, invaders. But no, I'm not a native, but I've been here for 14 years. My wife is a native. My wife is from here. Her family's from here. Matter of fact, when our girls graduate, they'll be 4th generation graduates of Artesia High. So
wow.
So we have deep roots here. I've been here, like I said, I've been here 14 years, so I kind of feel like I've been here a long time. Kind of feel like a native. Artesia is definitely home to me.
And you have children that are in the school system. You mentioned your daughter's on the volleyball team.
I do. I've got 3 girls. I've got a junior, I've got a freshman, and I've got an 8th grader.
Okay.
They all play volleyball. 2 of them play basketball. 2 of them play tennis. So
yeah.
They're pretty involved in the schools, and
no boys in the family.
No boys. Tried for a boy and got a girl.
Well, that's okay.
And you didn't keep trying.
No, we didn't keep trying.
You stopped at that point. Well, that's okay. What do you do for a living, Ben? I'm sure a lot of people know, but
sure. I'm a CPA by trade. When we moved here from Tulsa, I'd worked in public accounting for about 10 years there. Moved here, and I'm with J&J Home Care. It's kind of our family business here. I'm also with Harvey and Simon CPAs. I got sucked back into public accounting. Tried to get away, but got suckered back in. So
yeah.
Well, if you're good at something, you never give it up.
It kind of reminds me. I'm a little older than you are. There was a Monty Python skit where a guy was accountant, and he went to a guidance counselor because he wanted to be a lion tamer. But his guidance counseling reports all came back and said he was perfect for accounting. How does one decide to become an accountant?
Oh, gosh.
And not a lion tamer?
Well, my path was interesting. I started out in college thinking I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
A lot of people probably do that. Ended up in engineering program and then fumbled my way into accounting, and that's where I ended up, and I like it, and I think I'm good at it. I hope I'm good at it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you will.
And then you mentioned J&J Home Care.
Yes, sir.
How did you get involved with that business?
My mother-in-law started that business actually 26 years ago. And so after my wife and I got married, she wanted me to come on with her and help her with that for some time. And finally, she got us here. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about running for school board, because this has been an interesting year in that most of the time the school board's elections come up and there's very little turnover, or there's very little competition, if you will, for some of the different school board seats. But this year's a little different. There's, I think, all 3 seats that are up have competitive races this year. You're running in District 4. Were there a couple of issues that really motivated you and said, I'm gonna go ahead and do this now and run for the office?
Yeah, definitely a lot of issues. I mean, one major thing is, obviously a lot's changing in our world. A lot of things being imposed on our schools that really just shouldn't be. So obviously the big ticket items, the masking is a big one. Mandatory vaccines, I'm afraid, is going to become a big one. And obviously critical race theory is a big hot button issue that definitely against. But more than that, it's just, I feel like in these, like I said, we're kind of in a challenging time, changing time. I think it's time for some new leadership. It's time for some parents on the board that kind of have more skin in the game. Overall our board it's been a good board. We have good schools. We're fortunate to have good schools. And so I want to work to keep it that way. Mm-hmm. And fight for local control of our school boards.
Sure.
Is what we need. And that's kind of there's some stuff we can do on a local level with that, but there's a lot that needs to be done on a state and frankly national level.
Well, no question about that. Let's kind of go through those issues. On the mask mandate issue, there was the school board here chose not to go against the public education department. However, we've seen what happens when a school board does do that. School board in Floyd, I think, is probably the primary example where they were removed. Yeah. What can a local school board do in that, given the current situation with the public education department and their authority that they have, and the fact that the courts, for the most part, have been, what does Governor Grisham want?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That sounds good. Right. Whatever she wants. So kind of explain what can be done from a local school board member standpoint.
I mean, that's a good question. First off, we can oppose it, and we can oppose it locally. I think that, just our constituents, our parents, and our community knowing that our board stands against that is a big step. But then, I think maybe working on a coalition of other school boards, other school districts, that maybe we can take a stand together. Now, the lawsuit they joined is a step in the right direction on that. Mm-hmm. But, if this continues, and I'm just afraid, like Dr. Scrace came out and said this masking, I think he said yesterday this masking could go on for 2-3 years.
He did say some interesting things Wednesday that kind of led us to think that they're never going to let it go as far as that, even though there's a study now that's coming out of Florida that on kids in masks that shows that masking kids and unmasking kids in the schools had statistically no difference at all in their spread rate or their infection rate or anything like that.
But they're not going to listen to that because it came out of Florida.
Well, of course.
I mean, even in Texas, our neighboring states, Texas, Oklahoma, I mean, they've been going to school for a year and a half without masks. And they were in school last year, so their numbers are no better or worse than ours. So I think that's important, but that fight, if we can't build a coalition of school districts, that mask fight, when people go to the polls next year, they need to be thinking about that. And, a lot of these 17-year-olds that missed out on school last year, when they turn 18, they need to get registered to vote, and they need to remember what went on in their schools and actually, not going to school. So what didn't go on in their schools last year in not being there. So
now on the critical race theory issue, our superintendent was on last week, had indicated there was some there might have been some consideration by the public education secretary to listen to some of the school district's requests to slow down the process of approving the new social studies standards. And then we found out this week it's full speed ahead. We're doing this. Again, as a school board member, what can a local school board do in this process if this social studies curriculum does get passed by the state school board?
I mean, I think again we need to oppose it. We need to, but before those standards come out and are imposed on our schools, we need to take a stand and ban it from our school district, so that everybody knows, our constituents and our parents know exactly where we stand as a board and as schools, that we oppose it. We need to encourage our parents and community members to, I believe that comment period is open for a couple more weeks. Everybody needs to go on and make their opinions known about it. Hopefully that makes a difference. I would like to think it makes a difference, but we'll see.
Right. Say it does go into effect, or at least the state school board, puts it into the curriculum as they've proposed with very little changes. From a local school board standpoint, if the local school board takes a stand and opposes these things or says we're not gonna do these things, what are your concerns about the repercussions that may come back to the school board, or accreditation for teachers or funding for the school district if a school district takes a stand like this?
I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, obviously we don't want to end up like Floyd. There's some big problems with that. I mean, constitutionally, I think that, based on New Mexico's constitution, I don't think that the state has the authority to do that. But like you said, the governor's office is going to support it, and the courts are going to support her. So we've got a big problem. I think a coalition of school districts, of school boards and their districts. If you could build a coalition of, I don't know, half the districts in the state, maybe a third of them, and we all take a stand together and kind of force the PEDs back against the wall and say, hey, can you really take over that many districts? I mean, I don't know. That may be pie in the sky, but I think that's something that we're going to have to seriously consider, when we kind of think about what hill we're going to die on.
Right. Because there's so many of them out there right now, unfortunately.
Right. Well, and unfortunately the state, they control the purse strings, so Artesia's got a $37 million budget. I mean, you can't just fund that, privately, or there's, that's the funding source. But, speaking of that, that's a whole other issue. I mean, those are our tax dollars. These are our schools. And, they really should reflect the values and the ideals of our community.
Yeah, no question about it. Now, are there some other projects or issues or things that you would like to accomplish as a member of the Artesia Public School Board of Education?
Sure. I mean, as I think about being a school member or school board member, I just feel like we need to work hard to keep our schools good. as we all know, New Mexico schools are some of the worst in the country. We rank 50th, if not, low 40s, or excuse me, high 40s, if not 50th in most areas. So we've got bad schools in our state, but overall, Artesia schools are some of the better schools in the state, and so we just need to work hard to provide the best teachers, provide the best resources, and provide the best opportunities for our kids to succeed. And one of the things online at the schools that they're working on is a career. I forget exactly what they're calling it, but like a career training center. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something I'd really be behind, in giving kids an opportunity that hey, if college isn't your thing, I mean, you can graduate from high school as a certified nurse's aide, or a welder, or a bookkeeper, or something like that, where you can go get a decent job and be able to live in our community and make a difference. And so those are good things, and just working on keeping our schools good.
I know there's in addition to the school board races that will be on the ballot, there's a 5 mil levy that will be on the ballot. Do you have an opinion on that?
Sure. I mean, I support the levy. I think it really helps our schools. It's not an increase to tax. It's something that's already been there. Of course, I heard a pretty good joke the other day, and I'm probably going to botch it, but something to the effect of you're not raising my taxes, but if we took it away, my taxes would go down. So.
Well, I mean, technically that's true.
Yeah.
But they're not going up.
Yeah.
If it
Right.
gets continued, it's a continuation of what's already there now. So
really, I mean, our mill overall is pretty reasonable, and but definitely in support of that, and it supports our schools and makes our schools better for our kids.
How do folks, if they want to reach out or learn more about you, how do they learn more about Ben Harvey?
Sure, I'm on Facebook. Ben Harvey for School Board. Just search for that on Facebook. I'm kind of new to Facebook, so never really been on social media. So, but I have somebody helping me with that, and so you can find me on Facebook. I'll be, making some posts there, and that's probably the best way to find out information about me and ongoings. And,
Very good. Very good. Well, for being with us on Fridays, we have food from McDonald's. So if you need a snack there, we've got something for you, and we wish you best of luck. So
Alrighty.
See how it goes. Seliah, who do we have next week? Do we have
Christy Crockett.
Christy Crockett?